Hey everyone, John Hendricks here, coming at you with another episode of The Drive presented by Royal Honda. And we're talking Saints versus Texans preseason game. We've looked at 2 weeks worth of training camp, and now what does that all mean? Because we've got an actual meaningful game coming up on Saturday involving the Saints traveling to Houston to play the Texans. So let's start there, right? First of all, I'm excited, right? And everybody should be excited about Saints football right now because there's a lot of things to sort out here. There's a lot of things to pay attention to, and I get it. It's preseason. Sometimes it feels like eating cardboard in some of this, but look, Saints fans are going to pay attention because I think this is one of the most well-educated fan bases in all of sports, and so they know about some of the good battles and some of the things that are coming to play. So 7 p.m. kickoff, I believe, is what we're looking at. We'll be out there, obviously, and covering the game. I'll be there for Saints News Network, covering, writing about it, and obviously follow on Twitter at John J. Hendricks for all your fun updates, because this game is only going to be to select markets, regional markets, that type of thing, unless you have some kind of voodoo magic that allows you to get the game. So let's start with, what are we looking for? Okay, first thing is, let's not have some sloppy football, right? I think the first thing in preseason that stands out is everybody's been working against your teammates. Now it's going against opponents. You want to have good tempo on offense. You want to have a lot of good pace. You want to be able to run the football. You want to be able to pick up some first downs. You don't want some sloppy play. Don't want a ton of penalties. You don't want a lot of holes. You don't want to jump early if it's false start. Defensively, you want to be able to tackle, because that's something that's not been kind of evident in training camp. So we get our first look at tackling, really. And so, again, there's so much to look at, and the fact that, we'll start with offense and maybe some players we're going to keep an eye on. And I think the first one would be Chris Olave. So the rookie, we know kind of the story behind him, how great he is in route running and such. And obviously we know guys like Jameis Winston shouldn't play in this game. They won't play. Alvin Kamara, I doubt we see him really. I don't think we'll see Michael Thomas, Tyrann Mathieu. I think a lot of the bulk of the starters you're probably not going to see. And you might see some like on the offensive line, but they're key elite guys, Demario Davis is all that. If you do see any of those guys play, it'll probably be for a series or maybe for several plays just to have that action. But, honestly, I don't need to see anything from Michael Thomas. I said that plenty in here. I don't need to see anything from him. He can catch one pass. I'll be fine. But, again, put that guy in bubble wrap and save him for week one. But Olave is a guy that obviously you want to see a lot from. Look, he's been great at what he does. It just catches, routes, all the precision running, run after catch. Everything has looked really good out of Chris Olave. So I think that's the first player that we want to see a lot more from. Second one would be their other first-round pick. It's Trevor Penning. He's excited to play. He told us on Thursday that, man, he's just excited to be able to hit somebody else. And look, his physical style has taken a lot of negative connotations, all this kind of crazy crap, right? And so, look, Penning is going to be a huge focal point. Specifically, what you need to know, what you need to see out of Penning is how has he developed somewhat in pass protection, and how is he going to handle some of these edge rushers the Texans are going to have. That's the biggest thing you want to see, because right now, again, we've talked about it, James Hurst is going to be your starting left tackle until he's not. And so Penning's he's done a lot of growing up and just really maturing, and as far as the position, learning it more and just kind of growing in that. And so really interested to see what we see out of that. And, look, I think there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic about Penning's outlook, but, it's his first big test, and then he's going to have joint practices with the Packers and then the Packers on the road. So you're going to see a lot of Trevor Penning soon. Other places I'm looking at, right? Tight end, specifically Juwan Johnson and Nick Vannett. I don't know we'll see much of Taysom Hill, maybe a small wrinkle. I think when you talk about that position, look, I think Juwan Johnson is somebody who's destined for a big season, but obviously Adam Troutman is going to be probably your number one guy. Taysom Hill is going to be right behind him. And so it's kind of a battle between Nick Vannett and Juwan Johnson for that 3 spot. And I think Johnson's got the leg up, but Vannett, he's really going to have to show it in preseason. And obviously not just in practice. He had a good day of practice on Thursday, so more information is needed there. And then as far as quarterback, I don't need to see a ton from Andy Dalton, but really just Ian Book. He's coming in facing a really important preseason. He's had some mixed bags at practice. He's had some good practices. He's handled some good tempos. biggest thing I'm looking for is his decision making, because sometimes in practice he's held the ball a little bit too long. And so I think that could have obviously led to in real time a sack or, pressure, hurry, throw the ball away, maybe at least a pick, So we're going to see a heavy dose of Ian Book coming up. So get ready for that. And I think it's a good audition time for him to see, hey, you're going to carry 3 quarterbacks. You're going to try to get this guy in the practice squad. What's going to happen there? And then wide receiver wise, look, we talked about Olave, Kirk Merritt, Dejon Dixon. These are 2 guys that have a really good opportunity to move up the depth chart and make a case to be a potential 6th guy. Marquez Callaway is facing a very important preseason. He's been relatively quiet, had some good stuff on Thursday's practice, but he's got to bring it. All 3 of them do, right? And so we've seen guys over the years like Emmanuel Butler do great in camp and then fizzle out and they're ice cold in preseason. So those are going to be 2 to really pay attention to. And then obviously the offensive line, besides Penning, guys like Landon Young, Lewis Kidd, Calvin Throckmorton, Forrest Lamp, there's a ton of things to pay attention to. Now, switching to the defense, I think really the first person that stands out to me is Eric Wilson. Not many are talking about him, but obviously Pete Warner is dealing with a groin issue. That's concerning. Don't know the time frame. At what point do you say, hey, if he's not getting better, shut him down. Let's make sure he's ready for a month away and such for the season opener against Atlanta. That's a question mark, right? Because you didn't get Quan. You have Eric Wilson. He's a guy that's a veteran in this league. He's had triple-digit tackle seasons. Somebody that paired well with Demario Davis in practice so far, and I think he's a guy I want to see a lot more of. Caden Ellis is a guy that you're going to see a little bit more of. And then defensive line, look, guys like Taco Charlton really need to have a good training camp, because, look, Carl Granderson is a guy that's rising up. I don't know if you'll see a lot of Marcus Davenport. See some Peyton Turner. You're going to see some Tano Passignon. Probably not a little bit of Cam Jordan. But, look, I think those are some things that the linebacker situation is a little sticky right now because Zach Bond's injured. You had DeMarco Jackson go to injured reserve. And then you had signed Chase Hansen. So I think that's a position you still got to figure out a lot of things. And so I'd look there. Defensive interior, look, this team let go of Jaleel Johnson, the veteran. So I think it bodes well for guys like, Albert Huggins now or Malcolm Roach to potentially make their move, or Jordan Jackson, the other rookie that's on the team. And then in the secondary, Justin Evans is probably one of the guys I'm really intrigued to see. Guy that's really trying to make a comeback. And, with Bryce Thompson getting hurt, unfortunately, that opens the door for guys like him, Daniel Sorensen, the veteran, to kind of help make their move a good bit. And then as far as corner, I don't know if we'll see Alante Taylor, dealing with a hip flexor is what we believe it's supposed to be, according to Dennis Allen. So probably see a little bit on the corner spot with some of these things. And look, they have some things to figure out there. But, top guys, Bradley Roby's look good. We'll see how it kind of shapes up. And then another guy I'll tell you is Rashid Shaheed. Undrafted guy, Weber State. Look, he's somebody that's kind of reminiscent of Deontay Hardy. And so I think he's going to get some opportunities in the return game. Special teams obviously matters. I don't know we'll see much of Will Lutz, probably some John Parker Romo. And you got to remember, this is the first week of preseason. You got 3 of these games. It's not traditional where you got the first 3, 1, 2, you see what happens. 3, you roll in starters. 4 is like the backup game, right? So, we'll have to see how it kind of sorts out. But I'm excited. I think the Saints can pull together and do enough to win here, and they should be favored. It's preseason, so don't put all your eggs in the basket. But, obviously Dennis Allen also said that, hey, the goal is to win football games and such, and preseason does matter. And a lot of these guys that are being evaluated, they're going to have to show something really special to be able to latch on. But, we'll get some of these answers here pretty soon. I mean, looking at Friday and then Saturday, obviously the game's right around the corner. So as always, keep tuned here and on Boot Crew Media, and follow me on Twitter at John J. Hendricks for all the updates. If you are out of market and not able to catch the game, do my best to keep everybody informed, and then always check all my written work on saints.media. Thanks again to Royal Honda for producing today's show. This has been a pretty extensive, I would say, going on 10 minutes preview of the Saints and Texans. We'll eventually go live in YouTube a little bit later, probably next week in Green Bay, to answer some of your questions. But thank you so much for the support. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Appreciate everything, guys. I'm John Hendricks signing out.